Welcome to this week's Monday Night Spectacular. Minnesota legend and Houston Headhunters coming up. I've got Charles Doherty alongside me. We will be calling tonight's game. Ron Haynes and Mark Mello in the stats truck. But even though we didn't have SFL this week today, we don't want to let Haynes' vision go to waste. He put together some great clips and a little bit of a preview of tonight's action between Minnesota and Houston, a pivotal game to the playoffs. So Charles and I, let's get started. We start with the Minnesota legend and their quarterback, Johnny Reno. 61.5% completion percentage and 12 touchdown passes this season. He's their secret weapon, in my opinion.
Yeah, secret weapon. Also, I think he's having an all-star caliber year, and the offense is hitting on all cylinders. High ratings across the board. On this play right here, you can just see just plenty of time in the pocket, and he goes to Mr. Reliable, Deezer Powell in the end zone for the touchdown.
Deezer Powell, 2 touchdowns, but the 453 yards are the big one. He is a chain mover for this squad. And it's a squad full of talent at the wide receiver, well, really at the skill position. T. DeQueen is another one of those.
Yeah, a great route runner you see on this one. Just looks like a straight fly route, but perfect rapport between the wide receiver and the quarterback. Gets it right in her hands at the only time she can catch it.
Now, this team wouldn't be anything without their secret not their secret weapon, but their best player, and quite frankly, an MVP candidate, Colin Hart. 713 rushing yards, leads the league.
Yeah, that veteran. I remember coming into the league just being eye-opening runs by Hart. He's having a great season this season, and for playoff teams, you need to have reliable weapons on both sides of the ball, and Minnesota completes it with Colin Hart.
Over 100 rushing yards a game. That is really difficult to do in the modern day SFL. Let's go to the Minnesota defense. Matthew Alvarado is a big player in the backfield. 15 tackles for loss.
He seems to be everywhere the ball is. I mean, a reliable. When you've got your inside linebacker making plays like that, the defensive coordinator can sleep soundly at night.
Adrian Blaine, 55 tackles, and you can see how quickly Blaine can get into the backfield. That is just a wild play. The pursuit angle, excellent, just outstanding safety.
I mean, you nailed it. That's the eye-opening part of that highlight is his closing speed. He was wrapped on that ball carrier right at the snap.
There is no Minnesota preview defensively without Max Knight. This guy is one of the best pass rushers in the league, and his numbers prove that out this year.
Yeah, you need to put your best offensive lineman on him and a fullback and a tight end to keep your quarterback clean.
All right, let's go over to the Houston Headhunters. 3-4, but this team is explosive. They're going to be in their NASA uniforms tonight, and they always look good in those. O.J. Bruin, he's going to be the difference, I think, in this game, Charles, tonight. I think you and I both agree.
Yeah, agree. He's got to have a clean game. He's got to be standing upright in the pocket, but he has to minimize the mistakes.
DR Sim is his main weapon. 29 targets, a little bit down from previous, but it's a much more balanced offensive attack this season for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've said everything we could possibly say about DR Sim, the Hall of Famer. I mean, he is. We talked about weapons with Minnesota. He is the weapon on Houston.
There's not much left to say about him, but there is a lot to say about Israel Adams. He's really stepped up. The wide receiver 3 on this team is challenging Mike St. Green for catches and touches.
And much like we said for the Minnesota offense, Houston needs to find a reliable number 2, and I think they've got that in Israel Adams.
Josh Slapp, if Colin Hart is the leader of Minnesota's offense, Josh Slapp is that for Houston's offense. He is second in the SFL in rushing yards with 631.
He's steady, he's reliable, and he rarely makes a mistake. I mean, dependable. Give the ball to him, and good things happen.
Slapp this season, 8 rushing touchdowns and averages 90 yards a game. Over to the defense for Houston. Guy Incognito, a tackling machine with 51.
Yeah, and he's going to be busy tonight. He's going to have to take that effort, that success, and turn it up to hyper level here up against Minnesota tonight.
And Houston needs some turnovers. This defense has not forced a bunch of turnovers. Jason Peace at the linebacker position, though, lives in the backfield. Very similar to Alvarado. He's got 12 TFLs.
Yeah, I mean, the Houston defense, specifically for the game tonight, we're looking for them to, kind of be more like the Houston defense of old, causing turnovers. And in order for that to happen, we're going to be leaning on Peace and Britton for making those types of highlights.
Yeah, and here's Britton, the third right here, the last piece to focus on for this Houston Headhunter defense. They may not have been forcing turnovers a lot this season, Charles, but they're vicious in the backfield.
Yeah, and again, tonight's going to be a big test for those two guys. They're going to have a lot of weapons coming across, routes across their zone or across their man-to-man, and they're going to have to perform. That
was Haynes Vision this week. You are awesome, Ron Haynes, and happy to feature all your work across our games every Monday night. Minnesota and Houston kicking off in about 2 minutes. We'll see you at Vipe Sports Stadium in a moment. We are ready for liftoff at Vipe Sports Stadium in Houston, Texas tonight. On SFL YouTube, a pivotal, a critical game to this postseason chase for both the Houston Headhunters and the Minnesota Legend. Alongside Charles Doherty, I'm Cameron Irvine, Mark Mello, and Ron Haynes on Stats. Charles, we just got a look at all of the key players in this football game here tonight, but I think maybe the biggest key is poise for both of these squads because they both have something to prove.
Oh, definitely. And there's a lot of pressure on Houston tonight to walk away with a win on this. I mean, they're a little bit in a hole, with their 3-4 record. But from this point forward, it's a new season. They're going to have to keep clawing and fighting in every game. And this is going to be a big test for them. Minnesota, they lead in our top 10, top 5 in almost every offense and defense team statistical category. And Houston, like I mentioned in the pregame, their defense isn't like the Houston we know of old. We need they've got the weapons to show us what they can do, and tonight they're going to have to be firing on all cylinders.
NASA-inspired uniforms guy, and we are all ready, hopefully, to fire on all cylinders tonight from the booth. Sonny J's got the ball on the tee, and he has kicked it. We are underway on Monday night. Deep kick, 8 yards deep into the starry end zone and the starry night sky here in Houston tonight. Minson takes a knee. Minnesota is 5-2. If they win tonight, they will vault themselves into third place. Your first playoff bracket or playoff update, playoff picture, whatever you want to call it, comes out tomorrow on SFL This Week. Just a one-day delay, but that's what is at stake for Minnesota tonight. Johnny Reno starts under center with one back in the backfield. That's Hart. First down and 10 at the 20-yard line. Reno drops to throw, fires down the field into double coverage. That pass is caught by Jason France. Viva la France, first down Minnesota.
Yeah, Viva La France is right. And your accent was perfect on that, Cam. It looked like there are 3 defenders around La France on that one. Oh, excuse me, France on that one. Great pass by Reno. He's coming off one of his best games this season last week, and he's hoping to build on it tonight.
Reno completes 61.5% of his passes. That's second best in the SFL. 12 passing touchdowns. That's first in the SFL. Reno nearly sacked, and he gets it away to Deezer Powell, his 25th catch of the season for another Minnesota first down.
It's early in the game, but Minnesota's showing a lot of short drops. It's a perfect way to attack an aggressive defense. Don't give them time to settle. Keep them on their heels. You know, do short drop, get rid of the ball quick, but you got to be decisive, and you have to run crisp routes, and so far we're seeing it from Minnesota.
They are certainly keeping Houston on their toes tonight. Minnesota, 257 rushes this season in the SFL. That's third most in the league, but they've come out 3 straight passes. They're going empty here in the opening minute of Houston territory. Reno escapes to his left. Now he's going to take off and run. Johnny Reno picks up 5 yards. He's got 43 yards on 18 carries coming in. A running threat, picks up 5.
A case in point, deep drop on that play. Pocket started to break down, well covered downfield for Houston, and he had no options other than run the ball.
2 in the backfield now on 2nd and 5 for Minnesota. This will be their first run of the night. That is Isaac Knox getting the carry. He'll pick up a couple. This Houston Headhunters defense, just 4 forced turnovers this season. Charles, you have to feel like at some point the odds are going to go back in their favor, because minus 15 turnover differential is just nuts. 3rd and 3. They'll hand it off. That is a first down and a handoff to let me get the that was the handoff to the backup fullback Mark Edwards for the first down. Shocker.
Yeah, Robert Henson might have had to sit on the bench. Maybe he was gassed from the previous plays.
So first down and 10. Minnesota getting everybody involved. This is Colin Hart's first carry. He breaks off a tackle. Colin Hart inside the 25. And Minnesota's opening drive has been superb at this point.
Yeah, no mistake at all. I don't think any loss of yards. Everything's been positive. And, with the exception of that one run play out of the pocket for the quarterback, he still gained 5 yards. So perfect so far for Minnesota.
This passing game is about as balanced as they come. Coming in, Powell, 24 catches. Tita Queen, 22. Jay Taylor, 22. As Reno drops to throw again, that pass is stabbed inside the 10-yard line by Jay Taylor. His 23rd catch of the season. 1st and goal, Minnesota.
I mean, the only word that comes to mind is explosive. I mean, they've come out firing on all cylinders like we talked about, and the passes coming out of the hands of Reno are just crisp and right where they need to be.
Blake Prine has been active early. He is 4th on the team in tackles with 33, but he has been active in trying to stop Minnesota's receiving core down the field. This is 10 in the box for Houston, and that handoff goes to E.J. Minson for not much, wrapped up by Garrett Evans, 2nd and goal.
I mean, this is a mark of a good defense. I mean, it's okay to, have your offense move in between the 20s, but once you get in that red zone area, this is where you prove your worth.
2nd and goal, Henson Jr. Robert Henson Jr. is aligned at fullback. He'll go over to the left. Handoff opposite way. Colin Hart dropped for a TFL in the backfield. Wrapped up by Chris Joseph, 3rd and goal.
You cannot let your defensive end get through your line that easily. I mean, there was no option at all for the running back. He did need to tighten up the blocking scheme on that play.
That's just Joseph's 2nd TFL of the season. 3rd and goal. Johnny Reno back to throw against just a 3-man rush, and he fires and throws an interception. Picked off and returned to the 5-yard line. Al Ingram III gets Houston's 5th turnover this season.
That's how you get the home fans fired up. We talked about, showing yourself on defense in the red zone, and Houston did what they needed to do. I mean, they disrupted the line on that last play. Chris Joseph got through, and on this one, they did the interception right on the 1-yard line, and now they're in the driver's seat on offense.
O.J. Bruin, the downside of that interception is now he'll start his first possession of the night on his own 5-yard line, but he's got Josh Slapp and Shepard Vakarian, both top 20 rushers in the league, in his backfield, and Slapp will get the first carry of the night to pick up 3 yards on the play.
Wow. I mean, that was a Minnesota was firing, doing everything they could, explosive, moving down the field. And hats off to that Houston defense. I'm still locked on that. That was a great stand there on the goal line.
It was his first, Reno's first incompletion of the night, and it goes for that interception. 2nd down and 7. Handoff. Shepard Vakarian got a block and picks up 4. Got that block from the guard, Sarah Bergens. Houston's without their best guard tonight, Brennan Ryan, inactive, but so far the running game holding strong. 3rd and 3. Bruin is sacked. Brought around the end and unblocked was Mark Mello's 2nd sack of the season.
Yeah, that's the 2nd play we've seen tonight on offense where the blocking scheme was looks like somebody missed the assignment on that one. You can't let Mark Mello have a beeline to the quarterback like that.
Josh Slapp was aligned on the other side of Bruin, and that may have been a mistake. If Slapp would have been on Bruin's strong side, maybe that sack doesn't happen. Instead, Sonny Jay's punting from his own end zone. This kick will get past the 50. Decent kick, but E.J. Minson is a strong returner. He gets it up to the 43-yard line. Minson on punt returns as that's his 28th return of the season, 6th most in the SFL.
And now they got the ball back. The defense of Minnesota did what they needed to do, got the ball back in the hands of their offense, and now the defense of Houston is under pressure. See if they can duplicate what they did on that last series.
A quick 3-and-out for the Headhunters on their opening possession. Johnny Reno will once again start a drive with a pass. That's completed to Minson for a 1st down. It picks up 12, just about as smooth as anyone can pick up 12 yards.
All right, quick decision making by Reno. Does a scan, goes through 2 progressions, and gets rid of that ball before anyone on the defense can touch him.
Another look at it. Houston on the back end of that gets a tackle from Kai Cash. By the way, that was Ingram the third's first interception of the season. 5 forced turnovers for this team by 5 different players, all with 1 pick. Reno drops to throw on a 1st down. That is incomplete. And finally, Houston's defense can keep Minnesota behind the sticks.
Yeah, it's the those short and mid routes for Minnesota has been very effective. It's like when they get deeper, it looks like the Houston secondary is guarding them a little bit tighter.
3 receivers for Reno, 2 by 1. Johnny fires into traffic, and a hand from Chris Britton III able to knock that away, his 4th pass deflection this season. A big 3rd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, so far Houston has cooled the jets of Minnesota on the offensive side. Let's see if they can do that here on this big 3rd down.
Empty, 5 wide. Mickey Melillo's had his share of struggles. It would be a 50-yard field goal from here if they cannot convert. Minson goes in motion. Reno fires down the field. It's caught.
Unbelievable.
What a catch in traffic. That's T to Queen for another Minnesota 1st down.
Yeah, that's one of the weapons we talked about in the pregame. wasn't wide open, but man, very accurate pass. And it looked like number 27 for Houston, Kai Cash, had a shot at that.
Johnny Reno, 5 for 8, has thrown to 5 different players for receptions so far tonight. The handoff goes to Hart and picks up 2. 2nd and 8 after another tackle from Britton.
Yeah, they got to walk away with points here, Cam. This is the 2nd time they're in the red zone. Gotta have some success.
If you bought a ticket in the other end zone, you're not too pleased right now. You haven't really seen any action. First quarter's almost gone. 2nd and 8. The Queen goes in motion. Reno fires, 3-man rush again. That pass is deflected, and Minson actually got turned sideways, but once the pass is tipped, you can do whatever you want. Minson can't come down with it.
Yeah, Minnesota showed an empty set, and it looked like all the routes for their wide receivers were deep routes, and that's you know, you can question that being in the red zone. It's not enough area for those routes to develop.
Houston taking some chances, trying to get some interceptions here tonight. They have run a lot of you know, a 3-man rush and dropping 8 into coverage, varying coverages. And it's worked so far. 3rd down and 8. Reno again, just a 3-man rush. Fires back to the end zone. Incomplete. Houston selling out against the pass. And it's proving to be effective deep down inside the 20 with an extra defender, that back line.
Yeah, and Guy Incognito on that one just played perfect defense, and good play calling by the defensive coordinator, Damon, for Houston. They did it twice in a row, kept them from getting in the end zone.
This should be no problem for Mickey Melillo. 13 of 15 this season along of 49. He's been called on quite a bit. Those 2 missed kicks came in a couple of big spots this season, including that thrilling Week 1 game against Indianapolis, but that kick is good. 8-play, 33-yard drive. Minnesota does get on the board, Charles.
It looked like, so Melillo had all his misses last week, on the last game, correct?
Yeah, I think it was one.
Yeah, he was perfect up until that last. He was 2 for 4 in his last game.
Yeah, I think you're right. Kicks away. Deep kick, 5 yards in, but at least O.J. Bruin won't be starting from his own 5-yard line. That's DR Sim back to return. So Bruin yet to throw a pass. His first attempt led to a sack. We'll see what Houston elects to do on this second possession.
I'm thinking they get Slap, you know, get him humming, and then that'll make things a little easier there for O.J. Bruin to get some of those passes off.
Got Daisy Peace in the backfield, being used as a blocker. No contracted fullback on this team. High formation for Bruin. Will drop to throw, and Bruin will check it off to Josh Slap. And a very well played football there from Stephen Black.
And they do not throw a lot to their halfbacks, so that was I'm a big fan of it. I wish they do it more, but I haven't seen a lot of that so far this season for Houston.
Bruin to pass, and his first pass of the night is a completion. DR Sim had plenty of space on the outside, moves the chains for a first down.
Yeah, it looks like David Leathers was covering and turned the wrong way maybe, and gave that separation for the wide receiver to pull that in.
It almost looked like Leathers was thinking he was going to defend a corner route, and DR Sim just kind of snapped it short, moves the chains. It's a Hall of Famer
down
for
into,
you.
from 5th gear to 3rd, Cam.
Handoff to Slap, and he picks up 5. That keeps Houston ahead of the sticks. 5th gear to 3rd gear, Charles?
I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. It was
I don't know anything about anything. Mike St. Green will tell you all about.
He changed speeds. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh yeah, no.
Leathers was trying to compensate for the blazing speed of the wide receiver.
Damon will tell you all about his blazing speed if you give him 5 minutes. Shepard Vicarian will pick up 5 or close to 5 to set up a 3rd and inches.
Ooh, that was close. That was close, Cam. I like the fact that they're getting their running backs involved here. That's going to be big for Bruin down the road.
Yeah, Houston really focused on the run game tonight. Minnesota's run defense pretty good. 89 yards a game they give up, is 5th best in the league. But Josh Slap and Shepard Vicarian are an animal that Minnesota probably has not seen much this season. Another first down for Houston.
And they've got themselves, I don't want to jinx them, but they got themselves a good drive going on offense. I like the play selection and the execution as well.
We talked about what's at stake for Minnesota tonight, moving up to 3rd if they win. Houston trying to join the 4-4 slog as Vicarian picks up 2. They would join Indianapolis, Albuquerque, Carolina, and D.C. amongst the 4-4 ranks. But, you know, Charles, I don't know if 6-6 is going to be good enough for the playoffs. If you lose this game here tonight, if you're Houston, you're probably thinking you got to win out.
Yeah, I'm thinking 7's the magic number, but see.
2nd and 8. Bruin drops to throw, fires. It is off the hands of the receiver. That was tight end Randy Pierce, who has 2 catches for 12 yards. Bovine is their primary tight end target, but we have not seen him targeted yet tonight.
Yeah, I just think it was the execution of the route there by Pierce. I don't hate the throw from Bruin. It just maybe maybe could have turned a little bit earlier, and the ball would have been right there.
3rd and 8. Bruin down the field, throws an interception. Pass is picked off by Matthew Alvarado, his first interception of the season, and that is the type of stuff that Houston has just been shooting themselves in the foot with all season long. Threw it right to him.
I mean, yeah, he's the linchpin of that defense. I mean, last week he had 14 tackles, 3 TFLs, and he's just building on it this week with that interception. I mean, he's reliable. He's the general of the defense and puts everybody where they need to be, and they execute.
He's the 9th different player on this Minnesota squad with an interception. Alvarado also has a forced fumble this season, along with Meerkat, so throw in a 10th for forcing turnovers on this defense. That is Jay Taylor with the catch for 5, and that should bring us to the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, another example, Cam, of the short drop by Johnny Reno, and it's so far Houston hasn't had the answer to that on defense. They haven't tried that a lot for some reason down in the red zone. Maybe the next time they get down there, we'll see a little bit more of those short drops.
A little bit of a surprising defensive battle here in Houston. Minnesota 3, Houston nothing. You're watching the Monday Night Spectacular right here on SFL YouTube. Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Dags Drone Works, aerial photography and videography services for real estate events, marketing, and more. Learn more at dagsdroneworks.com. New drone footage out of Houston.
Nice.
Charles.
I was
beautiful
there.
Kima Boardwalk, which apparently Tiberius Bovine and some of his buddies got into. They threw a party down there during the convention.
Wow.
Just saying that.
I'll have to go check the local newspapers.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they were listed in the nightlife section.
Page 6.
2nd and 5. Just glad he made it back alive. 2nd and 5, start of the second quarter. Handoff to Colin Hart. Hart has 4, but by and large, Houston's done a pretty good job containing him. Just 17 yards on his first 4 carries.
I'm curious to see what Houston dials up here if they show some aggression here on this 3rd and short.
3rd and 1. It is a full 1 yard, needing the 41 for the first. 2 in the backfield. Handoff. Isaac Knox. He got away. First down. Knox to the 37-yard line as he tried to get upfield and turn the corner. Excellent patience from Knox to move the chains.
Yeah, and the defense, the backers and the safety that came down for support, I think they were a little too far off the line and weren't able to impact the line on the blocking scheme.
Reno trying to set up a screen and couldn't get out there in time. Everybody coming after him. KT Slayer's first sack of the season.
That was Mello going in there. Had a wide open shot going straight in. No, it was Slayer. Sorry, wrong team. Yeah, he had a straight shot to the quarterback, man. Another example where we've seen on both sides where the blocking scheme, it looks like, a poorly executed block.
2nd and 17. Reno this time against just a 3-man rush all day to throw and finds a receiver down the field. That's Powell for the first down. This time Houston didn't have that back line as an extra defender and got burned.
So, it's only a matter of time for Powell to start getting going here in this game. 2 targets, and he's got his first catch of the game, and not a good sight for Houston if Powell starts warming up.
Reno now 7 of 12 for 105 yards, has been busy in the early going. Reno fires open again. France, the tall tight end, goes up high to get that one. 1st and goal again for Minnesota. The 3rd time in 12 minutes they've been inside Houston's 10.
And they're putting on a clinic for that short drop back. They're not allowing Houston blitz to get anywhere near the quarterback because Reno's not holding on to it long enough.
3 receivers, draw. Colin Hart smacked. Wow, Chris Britton the third. Mentioned him in pregame. All the TFLs between these 2 linebackers. They just got another there.
Yeah, 4 last week, and I mean he's another one of those. We talked about linchpins on defense. Man, you got a linebacker like Britton there. He's gonna close his area off.
Britton in the top 15 of TFLs in the SFL. 2nd down and goal. 7:18 to go in the first half. Reno against some pressure from the outside. That pass incomplete. Peace was in the vicinity, but more importantly, T. DeQueen gets her bell rattled. 3rd and goal.
Yeah, another case here, Cam, where the Houston secondary, perfect coverage in the end zone, and they've been showing that all night.
Red zone defense has been on point. 24 points a game in the SFL. That's bottom 6 in the league, but they are really showing out in front of their home fans tonight on NASA night. 4 receivers for Reno. On a 3rd and goal from the 11, Reno escaping. Reno fighting for the goal line and won't even get close. Wrapped up from behind by Denzel Maverick. The defensive line for Houston's playing really well in this first half.
Yeah, definitely. And it started with the coverage, though. I think coverage set that up, and wasn't anyone open. There was the only shot was for him to run. Cam, it's only a matter of time. The offense for Houston has got to do something here because Minnesota's going to keep putting themselves in these positions. And even if it's a field goal, you keep adding them up, it's going to be a hole that's a little deep to dig out of.
Malillo's kick is good, so Mickey Malillo now up to 15 made field goals this season. But going back to this Houston defensive line, 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a sack just in the first half, which is pretty terrific numbers out of the defensive front. I'm with you, Charles. It's only a matter of time for Houston. Their defense is going to get worn down. If they're not worn down already, this is Mike St. Green up to the 30-yard line. Minnesota outgaining Houston right now 154-31.
We got to see something here on the Houston offense. This game is going by very fast. In a matter of time, we're going to be looking at the 2-minute mark here. They got to put something on the board.
10 first downs for Minnesota, but the good news for Houston, they're only down 6-0. They are certainly keeping themselves in this fight. Josh Slapp takes the handoff, gets 4 more. Put down by Minnesota's Adrian Blaine, who is 2nd on the team in tackles.
So far, so good for Josh Slapp. I mean, he's hasn't had any, his longest run's been 5 tonight, but he's been getting positive yardage every time he touches the ball.
2nd and 6, 8 in the box for Minnesota. They'll run on him anyway. Shepard Vakarian says, I don't care, lowers her shoulder, and brings up 3rd and short for the Headhunters.
I'm curious to see what Houston does here on offense. They showed a little twist there throwing out of the backfield. Let's see if they may go to that well again.
2 receivers, 1 to either side. Bruin hands it off. That slap, he got it. They said he's short. That's definitely going to be a challenge.
Good mark at all,
Stephen Black with the stop, but we're going to see the challenge flag here. There.
Red hanky time.
Yeah, that's a first down. That's not even 4th and inch. The fact they marked it 4th and 1 is a crime. That's definitely a first.
Yeah, that's not good when you're in the Houston hometown and you make a call like that.
Take a retroactive look at the play. Brought to you by Retroid.
Both the feet were on the other side and the ball, so this should be an easy one.
Yeah, the ball is clearly over. Not at the end of the play there, but forward progress. Certainly. Let's see if they actually do give him the first down here. And they do. So first down, Houston. At least the refs got it right down the stretch, Charles. If at first
they did the right thing. It was clear.
5:35 to go in a fast-moving first half. Tyler Fall, Chris Curtis back at SFL Studios for halftime and postgame to break this all down. Handoff again to Slap. Josh Slap gets 8. And you could see Houston's strategy, Charles, keep Minnesota's explosive offense off the field. Just give it to our backs. Let's try to not do anything too crazy. They already have 1 turnover tonight, but it is keeping the game close.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, and, you know, Slap's been and Vakarian, for that matter, have been rising to the occasion. Every time they touch the ball, they've been doing what they need to do.
2nd and 2. That's Randy Pierce going in motion. And off, Vakarian dropped in the backfield. That's another TFL for Minnesota, their 3rd of the night.
I think that was Johnny Bravo on the corner blitz.
Yeah, you called it. That's exactly what that was. Johnny Bravo coming in and making the play. 20 tackles this season. 3 picks, leads the team. 3rd and 3. Bruin against pressure again. Fires from where it came from, and Israel Adams has his first catch of the night. Terrific read from OJ.
Yeah, Houston took a page from Minnesota. Quick drop back for OJ, and a strike right into the midst of Israel Adams.
And that's the talented side of OJ Bruin. I mean, he really slung that in there right past the outstretched arms of Stephen Black. 1st and 10. 4:10 to go in the second. Slap takes the handoff. Gets nothing. Stephen Black there again.
Yeah, that was nice. Nice coverage there by the run coverage by the linebacker Stephen Black.
If Houston
You
were
got
to
to mix
get
things up, Ken. Maybe a play action or a rollout or something.
Well, they'll just go straight back. Bruin uses his feet to get away, and he throws deep downfield to Mike St. Green inside the 10-yard line. I didn't think that ball was going to get there. St. Green hauls it in, and Houston is 10 yards away from taking the lead in this thing.
And it looked like Mike St. Green had to turn around, and it hit his outside. I think he might have been expecting it. Well, no, he didn't have to turn that much. Sorry, I got that wrong. But nice pass there. And like you said, I did not think that was going to be a completion at all.
Everybody getting involved. Adams, St. Green, Sim with a catch. Maybe Bovine here in the red zone. 1st down and goal inside the 10. They toss it out to Josh Slap. Slap is looking for an angle. Could not find one. David Leathers with his 3rd tackle. And now we'll get to see if Minnesota can bow up in the red zone.
Yeah, and that was a weird route on a pitch. Normally they go outside straight to the edge. It looked like he turned in.
Under 3 to play. Bruin quickly throws. It looked like looking for some sort of 90 route. It was not open. Now it's 3rd and goal.
Got to get at least 3, Cam. So don't. I'd get it in the hands of one of your star players and let them get the yards to get in the end zone.
Critical moment here for OJ. 8 touchdowns this season. That's 8th best in the SFL. 3rd and goal. OJ fires back of the end zone, and he just was not that open. Israel Adams in the back corner. It's deflected away, and Houston this time will be the one settling for 3.
They had that whole section of the end zone covered with 3 defenders. So, I mean, odds were pretty slim they were going to get a completion on that one.
Meerkat with the deflection. Bruin starts 4 for 8. So 27-yard field goal attempt coming now for Sonny J. 8 for 8, perfect on the season. Even has a 51-yarder to his name for incentive money. This is a chip shot for Sonny. That kick is good. 2:46 to go in the first half. 12-play, 60-yard drive. Most of the overs have been hitting this week, but not tonight. 45.5 from Jack's data. Minnesota has a 6-3 advantage on top of Houston.
Yeah, but that was a big offensive drive for Houston. They didn't get the touchdown, but those 3 points are going to matter.
Kick is away from 3 yards deep. Minson on the return. And Minson will get it to the 26-yard line. So Minnesota so far tonight, 122 passing yards. The run game has struggled just a bit, 39 rushing yards, but 10 first downs, 5.5 yards per play. First and 10 of the 26. Reno quickly fires over to Jason France, who just threw Kai Cash to the side. First down.
That was physicality right there. Holy smokes. You said it earlier, Cam.
Oh.
One thing that's impressing me tonight for Johnny Reno is he is spreading that ball around. If you're on offense and you're an eligible receiver, keep your eyes open because Reno will get it to you.
When Jason France has had his best games is as a tight end, he has had open space to be physically imposing, and he was imposing on that last play. Minson picks up just 3. France's last 100-yard game came back in April, on April 13th. The last time he played Houston, he had 94 yards on 5 catches and a touchdown. That was in the playoff game, as this is a rematch of that. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Minnesota 6, Houston 3 on the Monday Night Spectacular. Remember, Charles, the last time these two teams played, an overtime quarterfinal thriller. It was the best game of the playoffs. Minnesota eked out a win at home, 30-27, but this is actually their first trip ever to Houston in Minnesota's 5 seasons, as Colin Hart will get a couple more to set up a 3rd and 5.
I mean, the way this game's going, Cam, this might be an overtime game. We've got 3 points here at the end of near the end of the first half. It could be a tie ball game as well. But man, both of these defenses, I think, are really, especially when they get in the end zone, are really showing their worth.
Peace already up to 5 tackles, leads the team. 90 seconds to go in the first half. Reno on a 3rd down. Jason France again out there on Brady Clark. Gets a first down and moves the chains. You can just see how much bigger France is than everybody else in that Houston secondary.
He's 6'7", and the secondary, 6'3". The corners are 6'3", and he just ran straight down the field, and Reno threw it up in the air, and the Redwood just put his hands up and grabbed it.
Reno wide open. That again is caught by Powell. His 3rd catch. France has 4 to lead the team. Reno with 12 completions in this first half. But it's been once they get down into this area, Charles, that Houston's defense is really toughened up.
Yeah, it's weird though, because as they get closer into the end zone, they don't do those short drops, which are so effective going up to here. It seems they go with the 50s and deeper drops where defense can disrupt the passing play.
Jay Taylor moves into a 3-by-1. Houston brings 4. Reno pass is deflected. Chris Britton, the 3rd, gets in the way of the passing lane. 2nd down.
Yeah, there was a whole crew of Houston headhunters there, and it was dangerous pass. And the other thing I'm seeing here is as they get in the red zone is they're not running as much. They go into that pass play, and they're looking at 3rd and long.
Minnesota number 1 in the league in red zone trips and red zone touchdowns. Not tonight. 2nd down and 10. 1:02 to go in the first half. Reno going to throw again. Fires near side. It is deflected away. Knocked down by Al Ingram the 3rd. 3rd and 10.
Al Ingram had his back to the... I don't know how he did that. He didn't even turn his head. His complete body was facing in the end zone and was able to deflect that pass. That's incredible.
Watching the Jumbotron, perhaps, seeing where that football's going. 3rd and 10 for Reno. Johnny, 3-man rush, has to just check it down, and Houston does it again. Timeout headhunters to try and preserve some clock just in case. Mickey Malillo will have to kick another field goal. What a Herculean task by Houston's defense. They have been terrific against the best red zone team in the SFL.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they didn't go to Colin Hart more, in the red zone. I mean, he's a beast, and it puts a lot of pressure on the defense trying to bring down somebody like Hart, and you don't need as much as field as you do on some of those pass routes that Minnesota's been dialing up.
Colin Hart, maybe they're keeping him fresh for the second half. Averages over 100 yards a game, just 17 rushing yards in the first half. Houston has done the job on him, and 13 of those came on 1 run. So if you take that away, just 4 yards on 5 carries for Colin Hart. He'll take the knee in the end zone and bring it out to the 20-yard line. So 50 seconds left. Charles, if I'm Houston, I'm just running the ball and getting out of here. You're only down 6 to one of the best teams in the league. Make sure you don't make a critical mistake.
Yeah, definitely. Just to hand it off to Slap or Vicarian, and just take it to the locker room.
They'll send Adams in motion. Taking their time, Bruin will hand the ball off to Slap. He's got a lot of space in front, picks up 6. Coming up on the MNS Halftime Report with Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk, a recap of the first half from Space City. No more unbeaten teams are left as Denver takes care of Arizona. We'll break down that game, and then looking ahead at the playoff rankings revealed tomorrow. That and more on the MNS Halftime Report as Shepard Vicarian gets about a half a yard. Alvarado with the stop. We might see one more play before the end of the half.
And I'm hoping it's a run. Don't want to. Again, we don't want to make a mistake now.
3rd and 4. Houston's offense didn't really have all that chance to shine. Bruin is going to throw. Bruin, a little scatterbrained. Oh boy, that could have been a disaster.
Aye.
Wow, Minnesota can't hang on to it. And Houston in some ways escapes there. 9-3. Minnesota has the lead in a surprising first half. Your thoughts, Charles?
I mean, if I were the Houston offense right now, I would sprint to the locker room. Just to, you gotta look at the pictures, look at the tape, do whatever you can, make some adjustments here. They've shown some series for Houston where they can drive down the field. Like actually, both teams have done that. The defenses on both sides have been stout in the red zone. Both of these teams are allowing the other to hang around. One of them is going to have to smack the other down and take control of this game right now. It's actually a heck of a lot closer than I expected it. But man, we're looking at a good one here in the second half.
221 yards for Minnesota in the first half, but just 9 points thanks to that man. Mickey Melillo, 3 for 3. He is your player of the half. Now let's take a halftime break presented by Brakes GPT and then send it over to Chris and Tyler.
We just pulled a full-size Taylor Swift helmet. Shout out to all our Swifties. Travis Kelce. This is a Giants Lawrence Taylor.
Patrick Mahomes.
Chad Johnson with the Ocho Cinco.
We have a Drew Brees.
Is that an O.J. Simpson jersey?
It's an Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my goodness.
Tom Brady! Tom Brady!
And with that, welcome into the Monday Night Spectacular Halftime Report. Chris Curtis, Tyler Falk with you in the studio. It is a 9-3 game, and Mickey Melillo has all the scoring for the Minnesota Legend, 3 for 3 in field goals over the Houston Headhunters. Tyler, first half from Space City, pretty, uneventful as far as touchdowns, but still a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think both teams are still trying to get their offense going. I mean, Minnesota hasn't been able to really effectively take advantage of Houston being unable to take advantage of Minnesota's issues. So it's a battle of going around in circle. If you're not going to capitalize on something, well, we're not going to capitalize on something, and everything just kind of falls apart in that regard. And so we've only got 4 field goals, no touchdowns, because these offenses they're still figuring it out already. More than halfway through the season, still trying to figure everybody out here tonight. Now, the big thing for me is, where is the heart in Minnesota, and that being Colin Hart, not being able to understand why he's not being used as much. I mean, Houston is a good defense. They're top 10 in terms of passing yards, and overall yards against a game, but they're bottom 10 in terms of rushing yards against. So it's kind of surprising why they haven't tried to take advantage of it. Maybe it is a late game thing, like Cam said, but right now that's the one chink in the armor that Minnesota hasn't effectively gone after tonight, and that's why it's still close. They're keeping Houston around. Houston's keeping themselves around. The defense hasn't given up a touchdown yet.
See what happens. Quarterbacks need to figure things out as well, trying to get some stuff done through the air. 13 for 21 is Johnny Reno. He's the better quarterback of the two, at least on this day. One interception on the docket, as opposed to OJ Bruin, who also has an interception on the docket. Only 4 for 9 so far, but they've been utilizing the run game a little bit more as it serves them. That being said, this game close. It's been a bevy of close games throughout the weekend in Week 10. I can't believe we're already in Week 10, Tyler. Even with the bye, I feel like we're just moving so fast. That said, one of the eventful parts of the weekend was we ended up taking away our last unbeaten team in the SFL for season 23. Arizona goes down to Denver, 24-17, the final score of that one, on the strength of a last-minute touchdown from R.E. Mills for the Denver Nightwings to finish things off. This was a wild game. Let's break it down a little bit, Tyler. At one point, both, or one at a time anyway, the two main halfbacks for Arizona were injured in the first half. It was just a wild game from start to finish, and Arizona just could not get out from their own mistakes.
You could tell it really hindered the offensive production, made him really one-dimensional to try and move the football down the field. And you see early on, it's what helped him, get off to a good start. You see a good touchdown, but then Denver just comes out and says, this is why we've always been a thorn in your side. They come away with a good kick return touchdown.
Yeah.
Here by Logan Keel to get things rolling and to keep the impetus on Arizona to try and extend the lead, in which they would. But the big thing is those two injuries. It really affected the game planning, and then Denver took advantage. Yeah, they had to have a couple of big chunk plays to get back in this game and to keep themselves around. But they were able to, because Arizona was able to do anything in the second half. Massive credit to the coaching staff over in Denver. Their first win as a coaching staff since coming in midway through the season. There was a little bit of controversy about hiring these coaches outside the league and not promoting from within. But with their first win, I think they've proven their worth to not only the organization, but the SFL, that they can come in and win football games against one of the toughest teams in the SFL, not just this season, but historically. So massive credit to this organization, massive credit to this coaching staff, and they cap it off with a good solid win, and then a massive stop on defense. I think you were on the call, Curtis. What a raucous play. It was a brilliantly designed edge rush to get to the quarterback, to get to Ashley Jackson and seal the win for Denver. Heck of a ball game.
Seems like Ashley Jackson was running around all night trying to evade sacks. There were two separate plays where she had to evade contact and actually shake it off to then throw downfield, and they were crazy good plays. And it was the work of a super athlete, but it was still something that you can't have that happen consistently and expect to win. But Arizona, ultimately, I think they'll be fine. They're currently 7-1, I believe, is their I think it's 7-1, either 7-1 or 6-1, but either way, they only have one loss. They're at the top of the table right now, along with Canton. And we move ahead to the kind of a preview of what the playoff rankings are going to look like tomorrow when they are revealed. And keep in mind, haven't really seen them. It's just a matter of thinking what we're going to be looking at. You have teams like Arizona, you have teams like Canton going to be at the top of the table. You have Florida in there as well with only 2 losses. The rest of the table is very up in the air. You got Minnesota somewhere in there. A team like Denver is going to have to string some more wins together. A win against Arizona helps their strength of victory for sure, but they need some help. And even teams that have bigger wins going on, like a Carolina, have one as well. But then, you take a look at that. Canton just beat Florida. And so that brings them down a little bit. So this is a whole mess, and this is about the same kind of mess we see at about week 10 of every single season.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to focus on some of the surprising teams that are coming to the top, and let's look no further than a team that really shouldn't be a surprise that's up here, but has made a remarkable comeback over the last couple of seasons. Yes, I'm going to praise a little bit more for Mexico City. I know Mike Dex is plenty enough on Friday nights, but give credit where credit is due. They look in prime form, in great form, and have done a phenomenal job this season to get back into the playoff hunt and start knocking around places like the top four. To be in consideration for that caliber, to be in front of a tough South Division, which has been dominated for the last few seasons by teams from Texas rather than anywhere else. And so it's been a phenomenal season for them, and another phenomenal season, first season in the league. How about Nashville coming in and having a very strong season? Minnesota-esque in terms of being an expansion team and coming in and doing a phenomenal job. That the ownership, the coaching staff, it's a whole team effort there in Nashville, and it shows. One final team I want to mention is the Charleston Predators. Now, they've always been shown to have this type of potential to be closer to the top edge. They just need a little bit of push every single season, but it always seems to fall on the backside. Right now, Charleston are in a really good spot to really take control of their own destiny, sitting at 5-3 over, fortunately, us. Lost last night.
Yeah, not wrong. However, Charleston is one of those teams that, and I'd say rightfully so, they have been criticized for not being able to get the big win. And so they really need to kind of break that glass ceiling, so to speak, try to get into the upper echelon of teams. But yeah, they're definitely having a better season this season than they have in seasons past. So that said, a lot to look forward to in the playoff reveal tomorrow, playoff rankings reveal tomorrow. And we'll be on site for that, as well as hopefully you guys for the Tuesday night spectacular this week in the SFL version tomorrow with Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green. But we've got more football here tonight. 4 field goals makes up all the scoring in Houston. It's 9-3 Minnesota as we kick it back to Cameron Irvine and Charles Doherty for the second half. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll see you post-game.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Tyler. Welcome back to Vibe Sports Stadium here in Houston, Texas. Alongside Charles Doherty, I'm Cameron Irvine, Mark Mello, and Ron Haynes in our stats truck. We are underway in the second half. Minnesota 9, Houston 3. The Headhunters get the ball to start the second half. Here's your first half team statistics.
Yeah, Cam, I was talking to DR at halftime complimenting his uniforms, and he told me here for the second half that he's looking for his offense to create some long drives. He wants to wear their defense down and keep the ball out of harm's way, minimize the mistakes, and kind of take control on offense.
We'll see if they can accomplish that. First down and 10, handoff to Slap. Not the best start they would have wanted. Just picks up about a half a yard. They're going to credit him with nothing. Slap in the first half, 30 yards, 10 carries. We talked about Minnesota's top 5 run defense. They give up just 85. They're on pace to be under that.
The key there is you got to have a mixture of play selection there. You know, if you lean on one too much, that Minnesota defense is going to figure it out.
Hand off to Slap again. That is Blaine on the tackle. Her 6th. We'll set up a 3rd down and 7. You know, Lexington got the win. Indianapolis got the win this week, putting pressure on Minnesota. If they were to fall tonight, they wouldn't lose the division lead, but they'd only be a half a game ahead of Lexington, a full game ahead of Indy, who owns the head-to-head tiebreaker on them. They're trying to keep their own divisional opponents off their back. That will help. Interception. O.J. Bruin throws it to Nicholas Frossel. Minnesota in excellent field position to start the third quarter.
Yeah, definitely not what Houston wanted. But, you know, Cook did a touchdown-saving tackle there. I mean, it looked like we were going to have 7 on the board for the defense, but now it's the defense for Houston has shown the ability to dig their heels in here in the red zone, and they're going to be called on again to see if they can keep the magic going.
Frossel's 3rd pick. Charles, again, O.J. just threw it right to Frossel. He's just standing there. Reno, 3-man rush. Deep, caught inside the 10, down to the 5. How much longer can this Houston defense continue to contain Minnesota outside the red zone, caught by Tita Queen.
I mean, that's just amazing. It looked like any one of two, maybe three players could have got their hands on it, but she just had the will and the strength and pulled it in, and now they're dancing near the goal line.
Reno 14 of 22, 206 on the night. First and goal. Reno going to throw. Reno fires it and had a wide open Caesar Ackerman at the bottom. Totally missed him looking for France.
I mean, I think that's the one element of that offense for Minnesota is as they get in the red zone, they're relying too much on the pass. And they've got some studs in the backfield, one in particular with the last name of Hart, that I think they can ride on and get a touchdown or two on the board.
Yeah, it feels like they're getting a little too cute down inside the 10. Second and goal. We'll see if they try to power it in. Houston going to send the house. Reno toss. Isaac Knox is dropped for a loss. That is Chris Joseph again with a TFL, his third of the night.
Yeah, and if that doesn't get your defense pumped up, nothing will. That was a statement tackle there by Chris Joseph. I thought we were going to be looking at a score there, but he just shut that down. Great execution for the rookie.
Hart again may not get a red zone touch. This was their problem against DC when they failed on two different two-point conversions. Didn't give it to Hart either time. Third down and goal at the 4. Reno throws. Reno fires. Caught. Touchdown. Jay Taylor. And finally, Minnesota's red zone offense delivers and stretches the lead to 12.
I mean, it's only a matter of time. You get Minnesota in the red zone. I mean, they've scored every time I believe they've been in the red zone. It's only a matter of time they're going to put 6 up.
They average 2.9 red zone touchdowns per game, basically 3. The league average is 1.5, so they're double the league average per game in the red zone. They go on a lot of long drives, and they execute down the stretch as they did there. Now Houston's offense may not be able to execute the game plan they were hoping, Charles. O.J. Bruin has got to collect himself.
I mean, if I was to give you a guess at what Reno's completion percentage was without looking at the stat sheet, I would say it'd be a lot higher than 63%. It looks like every pass he's been putting in between defenders, multiple defenders, just on the money all night. I'm shocked it's not higher than 63.
He's got 9 incompletions, Charles. I think maybe 7 of them are in the red zone. DR Sim getting outside. Sim's going to get his offense great field position right around midfield. But wouldn't you agree? It just feels like the only time he's really been stumped is by this this kind of cover 8 look from Houston.
Well, and in the red zone. I mean, I get you. If you look at the numbers between the 20s, I think he's probably near perfect. But then when he gets close to the red zone and does, move away from that run, that's when he's not as effective.
Well, it's only a 2-score game, Charles. Do you try to keep hammering the run, or what do you do
Don't
here?
give up on the run, but mix it up. I mean, you use your tight end. You got a Hall of Fame tight end. Pass it to your backs out of the backfield. I mean, you got plenty of options and plenty of horses to ride.
First down and 10, handoff to Slap, and Josh Slap is going nowhere. Max Knight's been pretty quiet, but he's holding things down on that defensive front while the rest of his teammates are making plays. That's Blaine again.
A lot of times those defensive tackles, don't get on a lot of highlights, but they're taking up 2 or 3 offensive linemen, allowing their buddies to make plays.
Bruin's pass caught by Sim. He is just shy of a first down. That was a A-plus catch in a very difficult spot.
I mean, I was yakking during that great return by Sim. But that special teams play, I think, is maybe the spark that they need to get their offense humming down the field and putting some points up.
Another big 3rd and short here. The middle's wide open. I'll hand it off to Slap. He does have a first down, so the drive will continue maybe into scoring position. Something that is a little underrated about Houston's struggles recently, Charles, is their last 5 weeks. Their last 6 weeks really have been brutal. They have played 5 straight teams with a winning record. They have only won one of those games. That was a blowout victory against Charleston. But they have really played a very difficult schedule. Vicarian gets nothing there. Houston just looks a little gassed tonight. Well,
yeah, I mean, I think maybe a little creativity on the offensive play selection, maybe a play action or maybe a rollout, I think might be warranted here to keep that aggressive defense in check.
2nd and 10, St. Green goes in motion. He's got one catch for 32 yards. That's Houston's longest play of the night. Bruins 5 for 11. 2nd down and 10, OJ back to pass. OJ is going to be crushed. Sacked by Chloe Meerkat, who just swallowed him whole there.
Yeah, I mean, that I want to see if he gets up after that one, because that is 335 pounds of Angus beef right on top of you. That's going to leave a mark.
Ironically, I thought he played for Houston, but I know there's a lineman in the league with the last name Beef. 3rd and 16, 5:40 to go in the third. Bruin up against it now. Scrambles away to his left. Now Bruin going to take off and run, looking for a block, and it was totally blown up by Mark Mello. Mello with his second tackle of the game. Bruin well short of the first down. They are out of field goal range because of the sacks, and they're going to have to punt.
Yeah, and the defense comes back out, and here in that second half, and we say it every week, Cam, that the defense is playing great in the first half. The longer you're on the field, man, you're not making as crisp plays as you were at the beginning of the game. You're starting to lose your gas, so let's hope that doesn't happen to Houston.
Vakarian with a nice special teams tackle, but Minnesota's offense right back out on the field. Surprisingly, 41-37 in total plays. It feels like Minnesota's offense has been on the field longer than that. Look, it's still a 2-score game. Houston needs a big stand right here with their offense struggling. First down to the 18-yard line. Colin Hart, not much there, and that's the one thing that Houston's defense has done a really nice job of tonight. Only a gain of 1.
Yeah, and good read by the inside linebacker, Jason Peace. Shut it down, knew what the play was going to be at the snap, and it was just right in the right place, showed discipline.
2nd and 9. 4:40 to go in the third quarter. Draw, Isaac Knox. They'll get 4, Britton and company on the stop. Houston has never scored 3 points in a game, ever. They have been shut out twice, though, but it hasn't happened since January of 2018. They were shut out by the Florida Storm. Then the Alaska Storm. They ended up winning the championship that year.
They had less gray hairs back then.
Reno's pass is incomplete, and I'm sure T. DeQueen does as well. She can't come up with that. 4th and 5.
Yeah, the defense for Houston did what they needed to do. I mean, get the ball back in the offense.
Massive.
Yeah, I mean, but again, you got to have a long, sustained drive there for the Houston offense.
Houston's defense gets off the field. Still a 2-score game. Plenty of time. Going to get pretty decent field position here, although that is a great punt to the 36-yard line. Sim has to call for the fair catch. Charles, you had a great stat on O.J. Bruin in pregame about his touchdowns to interceptions and how it's affected Houston this season.
Yeah, I mean, he's never won a game where he's passed for more interceptions than touchdowns, and so far in this game, he's upside down, 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. So, gotta right the ship.
1st and 10 at the 36, 4:02 to go in the third. They hand it off to Slapp. He breaks a tackle, has some room. Josh Slapp, first down and more. His longest run of the night gets into Minnesota territory.
That was a big run, and it started with the blocking on the edge there as well. I mean, look at that. The tackle just shut down the defensive end there for Minnesota and allowed Slapp a great route for the sideline to get that first down.
Israel Adams doing yeoman's work on the outside. That was a terrific block. 14 carries, 52 yards now for Slapp, almost 4 yards a carry. The second leading rusher in the SFL, certainly outworking Colin Hart tonight, who just has 19 yards. Toss play out to Vakarian. Now Vakarian's got some room. Vakarian, 45, just past the first down line of the 41-yard line. This is the run game Houston was hoping to see.
And it didn't start out too good. I thought with that pitch play, it's going to take more of an angle to the outside, but was able to recover quickly. Vakarian just showed some speed and Got a first down there. That was eye-opener for me.
Houston up to 134 yards of offense, 78 on the ground, 67 through the air, 3:20 to go in the third. Bruin going to try a little drop to DR Sim, 5 yards. Most wide open receiver we've seen tonight for Houston, Charles, and that run's setting up the pass now.
Yeah, that's a smart play there. I mean, that short route there to the Hall of Famer. Just a quick drop as well. Get rid of that ball quickly. Get some momentum and some confidence in your quarterback.
Sims' third catch for 29 yards, 2 in the backfield. Handoff, Slap. Josh Slap has a little bit of room. We'll set up a 3rd and short with under 3 to play in the third.
To say it, Cam, big third down for Houston here. They gotta execute. Gotta keep the chains moving and control that ball and walk away with something on the board.
4 for 10 on third down, 1 for 3 this half. It would be about a 48-yard field goal from here. Just inside the range of Sonny J. Can't afford a negative play. 3rd and short. They'd like to keep the drive moving. Handoff, Slap. Slap cuts it back inside. They give him the first initially, but Minnesota might want to challenge that.
Yeah, that is so close, Cam.
And they will, and then the question will become, will Houston go for it, depending upon where they spot this football, as we take a retroactive look at the play, brought to you by Retroid.
Where did they wind up spotting the ball at the end? Do you recall what yard line?
I think they put it on the 29.
Yeah, that's well within range for Sonny J. He's hit a 51-yarder. Well, I think that's short, Cam.
Yeah, it would be at the 30. Be a 47-yard field goal, or they could elect to go.
Yeah, she's hit 40, 32, and 51. Those are the longest of each game this season, so he's got the foot.
4th and inches in field goal range. See what Houston elects to do.
I mean, you want to put some confidence on your offensive line, you go for it. Maybe quarterback sneak up the middle. But looks like they're going to go for 3.
Yeah, we're going to try to get the points and keep hanging around this thing. 47-yard field goal for Sonny J. Bit of a high snap, but the kick is beautiful from Jay. So Houston gives their defense a break. 6-play, 34-yard drive. Like you said, Charles, maybe not as confident in the offense as you'd like him to be, but can't really fault them with the way Minnesota's defense has been bowing up on that line. Just a 10-point game back to their defense.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be too mad walking away with 3 points on the board. You're only down by 10. You've seen some good things on that last series that you can build on. Let's see if the defense can do the magic that we've been seeing all night.
The kickers have been great tonight, 5 for 5 across both teams. Minnesota has a 16-6 advantage. Their last 4 games, we mentioned Lexington being right behind them in the division. That is next week. Minnesota hosts Lexington September 21st. That's a 6:45 p.m. Eastern kick. That's a big one. Then they got Vancouver, 3-4 team. Then Florida after the bye. So not an easy schedule for Minnesota down the stretch as Colin Hart is dipped for 2.
It's another smart play there by Jason Peace. Doesn't fall for the draw play. That's a disciplined seasoned linebacker. 5 seasons in the leagues. You're not going to fool him on the draw play.
2nd and 8. Knox this time, and Isaac Knox has had some space. 6-yard pickup. That's 16 yards on 5 carries. Good work from the development player.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Houston does here on this 3rd down. We've seen a lot of deep zone coverage. Let's see if they show some aggression or they go back to that same scheme.
3rd and 2. Jay Taylor goes in motion. Houston shoots the A-gap and gets Colin Hart in the backfield. No gain, leaving space for Jason Peace to make his 8th tackle of the night. Houston's defense does it again.
I mean, if you're going to pick a linebacker that's going to do a blitz up the middle, it's got to be Peace. I mean, we've seen his discipline on the other plays. He knows what gap to run up, and he executes it perfectly and just to shut it down. And defense of Houston did what they needed to do, rose to the occasion, giving the ball back to the offense.
DR Sim, nice punt return to the 41, and more good field position for the Headhunters with 40 seconds to go in the third.
And they've got something to build on, Cam. We saw a lot of good things, a lot of mix, a little bit more of those short passes that we were looking for in the first half. Short drop backs, good running by the off tackle as well as up the middle by the halfbacks. Let's see if we can see a little bit more of that on this series.
First down to the 42-yard line. Things turning just a little bit as Minnesota only 39 yards of offense in this third quarter. Have actually been outgained by Houston in the third. Still up 10. Bruin will drop to throw. Had a back open. Instead, tried to hit Sim. Just missed slap. He was all alone at the top of the screen.
Well, he was getting heat. He was getting blitz off the corner there. Had to get rid of the ball. I mean, I don't hate that play because it could have been a lot worse. We could have been looking at some negative yardage.
Second down and 10. Houston. Crowd desperately wanting some big plays to cheer for out of this offense. Slap will get it to a more manageable third, and we'll call it a short 7.
I would get your seasoned wide receivers on right at the first down marker, a route across the middle. Don't try and push it too deep because so far tonight that secondary for Minnesota has been locking it down deep.
4 wide, they'll send Adams in motion. He's got 1 catch on 2 targets for 12. 3rd and 7. OJ threw it over everyone's head, and it's picked off by Blaine. Airmailed it.
It looked like they all went on a slant route, an all slants route for all of the wide receivers, and just didn't get rid of it early enough, I think, and overthrew it as well. I mean, holy smokes, that was a big mistake.
Oh, that is tough. End of the third quarter. Minnesota back with the football, 16-6. Can Houston's defense keep them alive again? We'll be right back.
Of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Start of the fourth quarter, Charles Doherty, Cameron Irvine with you, Mark Mello, Ron Haynes. In our stats truck, a surprising low-scoring affair here at Vipe Sports Stadium as Johnny Reno checks that down to Taylor to pick up 6 yards on the play.
Yeah, there's a huge gut check for the Houston defense. I mean, it's got to be frustrating for them to keep coming back on the field without points on the board, and a lot of pressure on them to keep them from driving. I mean, that's what they're paid for, but this is a gut check. Gotta not let them put any points up.
Hand off, Colin Hart. Colin Hart for the first time tonight dragging a defender. That was John Barnhart who eventually made the tackle. Hart starts to impose that will in the fourth.
That's the right time to do it. I mean, you're ahead by 10. If you can get a running game going and start milking that clock, you're in a good spot.
Averages over 20 carries a game. That was his 10th carry tonight. Reno back to pass. Will fire. That is incomplete. Looking for Powell. Powell has 3 catches on 6 targets now, 2nd and 10.
When we've seen, man-to-man coverage by Houston, they've been executing it pretty well. I think where they start getting in danger is when they start showing a lot of that zone. You got a guy like Johnny Reno, 6 seasons in the league. I think he kind of knows how to attack that type of zone defense.
2nd and 10, Reno fires into traffic, picked off. What a play! What a play by Blake Prine, keeping his eyes on the football, and they have another opportunity.
Woo, okay, I think that was a big. I don't know if they're giving me the number 1 signal from the Houston sidelines. I don't know. They're turning around, looking up. I mean, I thought they did a zone there, and they did it perfectly and got a pick out of it. So, don't listen to anything I say.
The number 1 sign, I give you so. 9:04 to go in the fourth. Herculean effort from Houston's defense tonight. OJ's got to get it moving. Pass caught by St. Green to the 37-yard line, first down.
And, Cam, that is a record for the league. That's the most times you've used Herculean in a game.
What, have I said it more than once?
I think, yeah, you have.
I've run out of vocabulary words apparently in my older
No,
age.
it's impactful, Cam. Very impactful.
There's Green's numbers. Had 32 on his first, 18 on that last catch. 8:40 left in the fourth. Still time for Houston. Down 2 scores. Back to the run game. Slap. Josh Slap has 3. Blaine, yet another stop. That's the 9th tackle for Adrian Blaine.
I don't hate that run. I know it's only 3 yards, but, you know, I think there's still some time on the board. You know, you don't have to give up the running game yet.
Second and 7. Houston hands the ball off, 6th most in the SFL, 236 times. Coming in, hand off a carry, and he is just buried in the backfield. You know, it was Houston's defensive line in the first half, Charles. The defensive line for Minnesota has dominated in the second half. Max Knight with his first stop.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been able to take another look at that line for Minnesota. I think they impacted the blocking scheme. That play did not look good from the snap.
3rd and long. Bruin fires incomplete, and 3rd downs have been the bugaboo. A 3 and out for Houston off the interception is never good. They'll have to punt.
Okay, and then here comes the defense for Houston. They got to buckle up again. Prove me wrong.
This game full of drives. That was the 17th drive of this ball game. And Charles, in the second half, we have not had a drive longer than 6 plays, and that ended in a punt. A flag. What are they calling there? He didn't touch him. Did he touch him, Charles?
No, I didn't see anything.
That is, wow. He may have, but it didn't seem to impact Minson at all. That is a frustrating call if you're a headhunter fan, because I didn't see anything. Maybe it happened before we were able to see it, and he bumped him early. That is a difficult penalty to swallow right there.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird.
So Minnesota's, thanks to E.J. Minson's acting job, will get the ball up to the 38-yard line. Isaac Knox will get 1.5 yards. That's Prine with the tackle. 2nd down.
I didn't see that play all night, and I'm not sure we'll see it again.
I mean, usually fair catch, you can see the guy, he just kind of runs into him, and it doesn't look good, but yeah, that one a bit of a mystery. 2nd down and 8. Johnny Reno checks it down to Minson. Great open field tackle by Britton to set up another 3rd down.
I'm telling you, that Houston defense does not look tired at all. They're tackling, filling the gaps, doing everything they need to do to stop the offense of Minnesota.
3rd down and 5. Reno empty. 3-man rush, takes it himself, and he pushes the pile forward. Hit the weight room. Johnny Reno's got a 1st down.
Oh, wow. I did not think he was going to get that 1st down. It was just that last bit of effort. 4 defenders on him and was able to power through. That was impressive, Cam.
What a run from Reno. 10 yards tonight, 43 coming into the ball game. Not the most threatening running quarterback in the SFL, but certainly better than some, as Colin Hart gets 5.
Still plenty of time. Just you've gotta do something to stop this drive. It looks like they're getting a little bit. They found something here on the Minnesota side that they're attacking for Houston. Those runs up the middle, I think, are showing something.
6 minutes left. Toss. Knox. Isaac Knox shut down. That's another great tackle by Britton III.
Yeah, they're all over all Peace, Evans, and Britton. They've been all over the field tonight.
Minnesota
They haven't lost a step at all from the first snap of the ball to now.
Yep, I agree. 3rd down and 3. 5:40 to go. Handoff. Minson out of the fullback spot. He is short on his 2nd carry of the night. There's Evans with the takedown. And Minnesota will punt the football.
I mean, we can go on and on about this Houston defense. They're doing everything to keep Houston in the game here.
One is away. And they'll let it go. It will be down at the 1 yard line.
Wow.
Holy
That's
smokes, Nicholas Frossel.
Oh my gosh, that is, talk about putting Houston in a hole. 1 yard line. Holy smokes.
What a kick by Mark Royals. I think that was Royals. I don't think Mickey's doing the punting. 1st and 10 at the 1. They'll hand it off. Not much room there. Slap got 1.
That was that made me a little nervous there for a second. That I was able to power through out of the end zone, Cam, but didn't start out good.
This is tough because you're inside 5 minutes down 2 scores, but yet you're also deep in your own end zone. Hand off the Slap. That picks up 2, and yeah, Houston is not really in a great position to get the no huddle moving here.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time, I think, for Minnesota to send, 2 or 3 extra defenders in there and bring the quarterback down.
I'll hand it off the Slap to make it a more manageable 4th down. You got to go for this, right?
Ooh, I don't know.
It's tough.
Yeah,
you're inside your own 10-yard line.
Yeah. Got to go for it, Cam.
I mean, the red zone defense has been great. If they could bow up 4th down and 3, they're inside the 10. This is a very unusual situation. Down 10, they'll hand it off to Slap. He's got the 1st down to the 12-yard line. They needed that.
Yeah, you definitely needed that. Oh my gosh, I didn't think he was going to get it on that one, quite honestly.
Now they can go up tempo. Now they're out of the shot of their own end zone. Whew. Boy, that was some dangerous territory. 3:40 left. Bruin to throw, fires down the field, caught by Adams. 1st down. Here comes the up tempo at the 23. Buckle up, stats crew. We got a long way to go. OJ is going to be sacked. Sacked in the backfield again by Max Knight. 2nd and 15. OJ, clean pocket this time. Finds Adams for a 10-yard gain.
Yep.
3rd and 5. OJ nearly sacked. It's incomplete. That was blanket coverage. It's another 4th down.
Yeah, it was the same play 3 times in a row. And it looked like the defensive line got a feel for it after that first one.
4th and 5. 4 wide for OJ. It has been a tough night. Needing this to keep the drive alive. Bruins pass is overthrown again. Picked off by Blaine. 1st down to the Houston 21. And Bruins' night to forget continues.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at miracles now, Cam, I think. They are deep in a hole, Houston is, and as well as the Houston defense has been playing tonight, I don't know if they can walk away without putting points on the board for Minnesota, and at this point, if they do, a game over.
Minnesota, the least amount of points that they have scored in a win in franchise history is 16. They've done it twice. They beat the Jacksonville Kings 16-10, beat the Motor City V8s 16-13. This would be their best performance, technically, with 16 points offensively, up 16-6 as they toss it out to Isaac Knox, and Knox picks up 4.
There's absolutely no reason, Cam, for them to pass. I mean,
right.
I cannot think of a reason. They need to, even if they walk away with a field goal. I mean, if they walk away with a field goal, fire up the bus, let's go home. No reason to pass. Now they're going to line up in a shotgun, and they're going to throw it to the corner.
They have 5 different receivers with either 3 or 4 catches, and almost all of them have exactly 6 targets. The balance and diversity of Minnesota's offense tonight has been outstanding. 2nd down and 6 as Ackerman goes in motion. Handoff, Minson. Minson is going to pick up a handful, a 3rd and a long one coming after the 2-minute warning.
I mean, they're clearly in the driver's seat here. 3rd and 1. I mean, there shouldn't be any surprise here who you're going to hand it off to.
2 minutes to go. The Headhunters fading to 3 and 5. unless they can pull off a miracle here at Vipe Sports Stadium. You're watching the Week 10 Monday Night Spectacular here in Season 23. Minnesota, as impressive as ever, trying to improve to 6-2 here on a 3rd down and 1. Houston will start burning timeouts if they convert. Isaac Knox has a 1st down to the 9-yard line, and Houston will start to burn the timeouts. Charles, the only 2 blemishes for Minnesota this season, a Week 1 overtime loss to their rival Indianapolis Ramblers, and a 2-point loss to the DC Dragons, in which they failed to convert 2 two-point conversions. They're as big of a championship contender as there is in this league right now. Hand off Minson, and a timeout Houston.
I gotta give props to Griffin King on that previous play. That block that he made on the edge was what gave the 1st down to Minnesota. I mean, oh my gosh, he just laid out the defender, and great blocking. Excuse me.
Stay tuned for postgame. Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk preview Week 11 and go through the slate. I'll tell you about where we're going here in just a minute, as Colin Hart doesn't have a lot of room to run there. 3rd down and goal. Houston had a timeout if Minnesota wanted to get cheeky here. But Charles, you and I are going into desperation zone in the I in Florida. The Florida Storm have lost 2 straight games. They were on a bye this week, and they host Arizona, who just lost their 1st game this week to the Denver Nightwings. So 2 teams desperate to end their mini slumps, and that is next week's Monday Night Spectacular, as Minnesota will wind this clock and send Mickey out for his 4th attempt.
Yeah, I think every Monday night from here on is going to be spectacular. Great games, man. That next week's going to be awesome.
And again, Tyler and Curtis have a preview of next week coming up. Also, don't forget to check out Mike St. Green and I on SFL This Week, which was moved to tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. So we'll see you for about an hour to recap the week's action. Ashley Jackson spoke to members all around the community, including a couple first-timers to the show. And we've got all the highlights and action to recap you on. Nicky Melillo kicks his 4th field goal in of the night. 19-6 now for Minnesota. Houston still down by 2 scores. Boy, if they could really use a kick return touchdown right now.
Yeah, that would make things interesting, Cam. Definitely.
This is the lowest scoring game of the week. We got a 45.5 over-under on this one, as Sim can't get away.
Ran into his blocker, it looked like.
Yeah, and actually there's an injured player. It's Jubilee Marsh. Haven't had any injuries all night, but the second strong safety on this roster banged up on special teams. So Jubilee will exit. Shouldn't have too much of an impact. Derek Meerkat's still out there. 5 tackles, 2 pass deflections at safety. And Adrian Blaine's got 2 picks.
They're going to have to be throwing obviously some deep routes here, but that's kind of playing into the Minnesota defense. I mean, they've been showing some excellent deep coverage tonight.
And O.J. Bruin has been very inaccurate on deep balls. That pass is incomplete, but Mike St. Green's going to draw the pass interference, so at least it'll stop the clock and keep the drive moving for Houston.
I think that was a light one. Let's see.
A lot of hand fighting.
On.
A lot of hand fighting. Mike St. Green playing patty cake out there. I don't think he'll appreciate the joke down 13.
You've got a lot of distance between you, so that should be good.
1st and 10 of the 58, or with 58 seconds to go. Ball at the 33. Israel Adams goes in motion. OJ fires. That is caught. Mike St. Green to the 48-yard line. They got to hurry up to the line and spike it.
Now, that was one of the best passes we've seen tonight from Bruin.
Bruin teetering on 50%. Only one quarterback this week had a completion percentage of under 50%. Believe it or not, Charles, it was Jack Wigmore in a win for Baltimore. 2nd and 10 for OJ. Dime look for Minnesota. They're 47 seconds away from improving to 6-2. OJ fires incomplete. That was actually really great coverage. A pretty good throw. Mike St. Green blanketed.
That was close too. I mean, there was good coverage. I'm not going to take anything away from the defender, but man, just a little bit more, you could have been looking at PI.
Tough night, tough season for OJ as the turnover differential continues to haunt Houston this season. They'll be minus 18 after this night. Here's a play fake, roll out, and he is crushed. Chloe Meerkat. Maybe that's why we haven't seen that tonight. Fourth
Don't
and
listen
19.
to Charles. Come on.
What?
What are you doing listening to me? I said earlier, do a roll out or play action, and no, don't listen to me.
Wow. Meerkat with a couple. That's 4 sacks tonight for Minnesota.
Man, I think I popped a rib on that one.
4th and 19. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston just ran it. Nope, they're gonna try it again. This time OJ gets rid of it, and it's incomplete. Wow, what a sorrowful finish tonight for Houston, Charles. This hurts. 3 losses in a row, falls to 3-5.
No, it's unfortunate because we talked about coming into this game, Cam, about the Houston defense of old, and we saw it. We saw a lot of it tonight, but not on the offensive side. I mean, honestly, I think the offensive side let the defense down. I mean, the defense did everything they could to get the ball back in their hands, and they just weren't able to execute.
Houston, 3 of their last 4 on the road, and they are playing teams all fighting for playoff spots. At Indianapolis next week, who's 4-4. Then at Mexico City, we tentatively have that game on Monday night in a couple of weeks. Then after the bye, they take on 3-4 Louisiana. And then they've got 3-4 Bossier City in the last week of the season. So they're taking on all desperate teams, just as they are now at 3-5. Minnesota, as impressive as ever, gets to 6-2 and remains squarely atop the Central Division. Charles, as we go through the final stats, who's your player of the game?
Well, I'm going to give it to I'm torn between Johnny Reno and the defensive line of Minnesota. I mean, I'm going to give it to the defensive line of Minnesota, and here's why. They had 4 sacks tonight, and total for the whole season, I think, was 8. So they really stood up and they disrupted the flow of the Houston offense. And man, I mean, Meerkat, Mello, both Meerkats, and Knight they just imposed their will on that offensive line of Houston. And, we're able to keep the offense for Houston out of the end zone.
I'll give it to Adrian Blaine, Nicholas Frossel. Frossel had the pick and stopped the ball at the 1. Adrian Blaine took 2 away from O.J. Bruin. And look, sometimes, Charles, you drop those in a critical game, in a critical moment. They did not drop those opportunities and those chances tonight. Minnesota 19, Houston 6. That is a wrap from this week's Monday Night Spectacular. Tyler Falk and Chris Curtis previewing Week 11 before we head out. And then don't forget, SFL This Week coming up tomorrow with yours truly and Mike St. Green. Postgame is coming up next. Let's send it to the fellas right now. You guys are good.
All right, and with that, 19-6, Minnesota comes up with the win over Houston on the road. And Tyler Falk with me, I'm Chris Curtis for the MNS post-game report. Well, this was a game that did not have a lot of scoring in it, a defensive battle, and I'd say that Houston was trying to run out of the building, but they'd probably get stopped in the backfield the way this game went for them. Tyler, break this one down for me.
Well, I gotta say, there's 2 common things in Houston right now. It's traffic on the 610 loop and O.J. Bruin overthrown interceptions, because that's just how things are going at the moment.
You'd think he thought the football was the government as much as he wanted to overthrow it this week. Yeah.
Something.
Unfortunate,
something like
but no real shade. Tough for Houston as they go down to Minnesota. But really, was this more about what Houston did wrong, or was it about what Minnesota did right? This is a statement of intent for them, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely Minnesota coming in and playing very good football. It was the defense forcing the pressure, forcing those overthrows for OJ. And unfortunately, they're gonna be happy getting through that 610 traffic to get back home out of the great state of Minnesota to the land of 10,000. But the big impetus here is, like you said, it's a statement of intent. It's Minnesota trying to solidify a top 4 spot in the playoff rankings, which will come out officially tomorrow. And I think they did a really good job taking down Houston, which in all facets now really needs to put together a much better ending of the season. They got 4 games left, and they're against teams that are there or thereabout as far as teams looking to make the postseason, teams that are also on the edge, like Louisiana in week 14, like in Indianapolis, who's right there on the bubble of the last, maybe the final wild card slot. Then you got the Aztecs in Bossier City, both teams that are in your division, but one of which is chasing a division title and the other is trying to also chase another wild card spot. So this is not going to be an easy task for Houston. They are going to leave it late, and they're going to need to try, and they got to fix it. There's no more second chances now for Houston. They have to put something together.
It seems like this is most of the time in Houston. They kind of find a way to get themselves into the conversation of getting into the playoffs towards the end of the season, and then they find a way in. Not for sure if that's going to be the case this time, but they're going up against 4 very hungry teams for some of the different reasons that they could be hungry. So I completely agree with that. Minnesota, on the other hand, they have solidified themselves, I'd say, into the top tier this season of this league. Canton, obviously Arizona, who has 1 loss, Mexico City, I'm missing one, but either way, Minnesota right there. And this is being a statement of intent for them. The way their rest of the season is looking, they very well could end up with a first round bye at the end of the season as well.
At that same point, you also have 3 of the 4 teams that are also thereabouts. Lexington, a division opponent next week, also trying to maybe squeeze into the outside and really try and put something together. Vancouver, a typical playoff team, on the back foot trying to make something work. Now they're going to be trying to be hungry. Then you got Florida Storm in week 14 after a week 13 bye week, and they might be on a slump now, but come the end of the season, when it comes playoff time, we know how good Mighty can coach, and we know how good Florida is toward the end of the season. So watch out for that game. And then if all goes well, you're looking at a Chicago team that has been struggling since they entered town. So if things do not go the way in these couple of weeks, they could easily, I think, go into Chicago, their only road game left on the slate, and give it to Chicago the same way they've done here to Houston, because they've shown that they're not afraid of going on the road and taking down a good team.
That's a fair point. Minnesota definitely dominated in a lot of facets in this game. So with that, we'll put a pretty bow on week number 10, and we will look ahead to a strong-looking week number 11. You know how things go around here. We preview the schedule for the following week. We take a look at each day, and you and I will talk about a key matchup on that day. So, my friend, I will give you Friday. Go ahead and pick a game. Tell me what you're watching.
Oh, this one's tough. Of course, I'm always going to be watching our game. Of course, Mike and Gerald have that.
Hold the phone.
Game.
Carolina, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Albuquerque, and Canton, Los Angeles. Those are the 3 games on the Friday slate. So let me put that out there for those that aren't seeing the schedule in front of them. Go ahead.
Now, the thing for me is I think both Pittsburgh and Albuquerque have beaten Vancouver. Am I getting my info wrong? Anywho, I'm going with that game because I'm looking at these 2 clubs. They've had a lot of some good spurts, some good moments, but we've yet to see where, in some cases, some consistency. So I'm looking forward to that game, seeing what happens there.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take the layup. I'm going to take our game. It's Carolina-Baltimore. Carolina, in most cases, finds a way to play Baltimore tough just about every time that they see them. So they've gotten some wins against good Baltimore teams in the past, and Baltimore not looking to be left out of the conversation in the upper echelon of this league. They want to show what they can do and why they belong in that conversation. So that's going to be the first game preceding the Matt Wilson pregame show on Friday with Mike and Gerald. But I'm going to keep my eye on that Canton-LA game. The reason I say that is because we came across a game this week with Arizona-Denver that a lot of people were going to look at that and be like, well, no, maybe not. And then all of a sudden, Denver won by a touchdown. So anything can happen in this league. LA is playing at home at Full Moon Coliseum. We'll see. But I'll keep a side eye to it, kind of thing. Looking at Saturday, what you looking at? We got Houston, Indianapolis, Lexington, Minnesota, Louisiana, Fort Worth, and then Denver, DC. What you got?
Well, now after that aforementioned Denver win, I think all eyes are on Denver and DC. We know DC at times can be a little, can we say sus on this channel? Can we say that?
I think we can. Maybe a little more
point?
Jekyll and Hyde, I think, is probably the better analogy.
Yeah, it's the old term. I'll use some new term for our younger generation. So they've been a little
sus, get it?
Yes, precisely. But that all the more gives the reason for Denver now with a little bit of winner's high to say, hey, we've done it once. We can do it again and get back in this thing. How about taking down DC to not only give them head-to-head advantage, but put them on on the outside talking point of, hey, a strong run from this team could see them push in, and it's against a playoff rival looking at the outside, also looking in.
If my numbers are correct, that game also features a DC Dragons team that's very much in the conversation of getting into the playoffs as well. Maybe not necessarily in right now. Again, we won't know for sure till tomorrow as we speak. However, that game looks interesting. I'm going to look at this Minnesota-Lexington game. Actually, scratch that. I'm going to go Houston-Indianapolis in this case. The first one on the slate for Saturday. Reason I'm going that one is because Houston's going to be real mad after the performance they gave today. Indianapolis, they're like a box of chocolates. You never know which one you're going to get. Thank you for the classic movie reference on that. But that game has the potential to be very good. It also has the potential to be, well, pretty ugly. So it really just kind of depends on which version of each team shows up. But that one, a couple of teams that are looking to right the wrongs of past weeks and get into the playoff conversation or stay in the playoff conversation as it sits are what we're looking at there. So that's my pick for that. Minnesota-Lexington does look good as well, but I digress. Sunday slate, we have Atlanta coming fresh off a win against the division opponent Carolina Skyhawks. They head into Nashville, Chicago, and Motor City in Detroit. You have Bossier City and Charleston happening as well. And then the nightcap is Mexico City, Queen City. Give me your pick for that night. I have my pick out, but go ahead and pick it.
Yeah, I've got to go with Atlanta and Nashville here, Curtis,
Okay.
Because these two teams, Atlanta now fresh off their suspension, their coaching suspension, they're able to come back in after going 1-1 during the suspension, which is a good sign for them. They still keep in pace in the playoff hunt. They finally get a win against a team that had more than one win in the win column at the time of the game. So some kudos over to the Swarm faithful, but they're playing a Nashville team in Nashville, which is strong at home. They're playing some pretty good ball over in Tennessee, and I'm looking forward to a very good show on Sunday evening.
That should be a good one, and no doubt about that one. I am taking a look at the Charleston-Bossier City matchup in South Carolina. That one looks like to be good. Reason being is because Charleston seems to be much better this season. Bossier City has given a game just about everybody they've played against, whether it be a win or a loss. And Charleston coming out hungry. They're still trying to check that box. We talked about it at halftime and break that glass ceiling. And a win at home over Bossier City would be maybe not that win, but it would be on the path to getting them there. So they get into the playoffs in Charleston. You never know what you're going to get. That would be win number 6 for them should they get it. So that's going to be a big one to get. That said, a couple other games looking pretty good. Chicago looking for redemption against Motor City, who's playing better, and then Queen City still searching for their first win. Playing at home though against Mexico City should be fun. And then let's talk about the matchup that finishes the week, because it is a darn good one. A desperate Florida team coming in. Mighty is dangerous when he is desperate. It's kind of like backing a cat up against the wall. He's going to lash out at somebody. And that lashing out may happen at the expense of Eddie Gage's Arizona Scorpions. Talk me through it.
Who's angrier, Mighty or Eddie? And I cannot wait. I'm already on the edge of my seat. We still got a week to go for this game, but someone's gonna blow up. Someone is going to put all their chips in one basket, whether it be Mighty or Eddie. And I think it's either gonna be a massive score game. I think we might see a combined maybe 60 points. or we're going to see a combined score of maybe just kind of like tonight's game, 20 points, because both teams will be so dialed in to this game that no one's going to have anywhere to go. So it's either going to be feast or famine, but either way, it's going to be a close game with some really good coaching and both teams looking to bounce back. And I can't make a prediction other than that because I know it's going to be a good one.
Jack's data, I have no way to know what they're going to put on this, but I would put a 47.5 on this. This should be a really, really good game. No doubt about that. One of those teams has to win. It's just a matter of which one's going to get back in the win column. Don't forget as well, Eddie Gage going to be on the post-game show on This Week in the SFL. I do believe that interview is going to be on tomorrow night. It'll be Cam and Mike St. Green doing that show at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on this very YouTube channel. So check them out. They'll recap the week and look ahead to see what's next, just like we just did. That being said, I think that just about does it. We got week 10 in the rearview mirror. They'll recap all the highlights tomorrow, and we have week 11 on the horizon. And that is all for us. For Tyler Falk and the rest of the Monday Night Spectacular crew, I'm Chris Curtis saying goodbye and good night. The Minnesota legend, Wynnum 19-6 in Houston. Thanks very much, and we'll see you tomorrow night.